Kia ora everyone, this here is my coverage of the upcoming LEGO Marvel releases for January 1st of 2025. That's only a month away from now. Before really getting into all of it, I just wanted to open up by saying that I have a lot of strong opinions here about these upcoming sets. Unfortunately, pretty much all negative, just getting that out the way here before we really dive in for all those who maybe aren't as interested. Now, I actually covered most of these back in July when word first got out on the streets, and I said that these all sounded really promising to me. Now that we have pictures, I can safely say that LEGO have really dropped the ball on just about all of these to some extent. There's maybe one or two sets that I think remain innocent here, but the rest are just simply absurd for my taste. The first things to cover here are those mechs, the smaller scaled stuff with the promise of interesting minifigures, and interesting minifigures they in fact contain. Iron Man mech here versus Ultron contains 101 pieces, with 2 minifigures of Iron Man and Ultron, retailing for the price of 15 USD. These things range anywhere between 25 to 35 NZD for us here, given that there are 2 minifigures included. This one seems pretty neat. I was eager to learn more about this one because I did miss every Age of Ultron based set from 2015. I hadn't considered back in June, July that this might be comics based or cartoons based, which is silly of me because really I don't think any of these mechs have ever been movies based. I think that this one's okay, though Iron Man does look really goofy the way that he's been placed in that mech there. Like really, adult collectors are buying these for the figures. I don't know of any adult collectors who actually like these for the mechs themselves, which I do think is also an issue with these sets. It feels like a waste of parts then on my end, because really I just want one figure here. Ultron does look pretty cool. It's a comics design as well, though I think he could have probably used a newer helmet piece or something if he is based on a comics design, not necessarily the MCU design. Probably one that I would get on a sale like the Morbius car set or something, because again, I really just don't care to have all these bricks lying around in my collection for something that I'm not even remotely interested in building. And then the next mech here is the Spider-Man vs Anti-Venom mech. Spider-Man easily has the most amount of these mech builds, and you would think that LEGO would have just killed this idea already because surely they've run out of ideas, and yet here we have another one. It's 107 pieces, 2 minifigures in total, and the exact same price as already stated with the Iron Man one. This is very easily the most generic looking Spider-Man mech that I have ever seen released yet. Just a complete soulless build here that could have honestly been applied to any other character. These mechs are all just the same to me. People started saying that this mech was supposed to be inspired by the advanced suit from the Insomniac video games. The minifigure is not based on that design though, so I really don't care if that tile has a white spider or not. It's not an appealing selling factor for me now. The Anti-Venom figure looks pretty interesting, and I'm sure that fans of that character are going to enjoy having this figure in their collections. The mechs always just kind of feel like such a waste of spaces for me. There are so many other ideas out there that LEGO could be doing instead. There's so many villains that we still haven't seen adapted into LEGO yet, but instead they just keep releasing these lackluster mechs. Clearly though, they must sell with that younger demographic, because otherwise I can't imagine that they would be continuing to force these in every wave. Next up here is the Spider-Man Venom muscle car, 254 pieces in total and 3 minifigures are included here. It's priced at 30 USD, which is around 50 to 60 bucks for us here in NZ. I originally wrote this one off when I first heard about it because it's a Venom based car. I'm just not interested. And now that I see pictures of it, it's actually not too bad. It looks like a decent enough Dodge Charger vehicle that's a bit bulkier for your LEGO City display. You just have to remove all that Venom crap there. It turns out it's Venom based just because it's black and it has his logo there. I thought it'd be a car that would have a symbiote stuff on it. Maybe the car would be like half regular and half Venomized like the minifigures appear to be. If you ignore what the set is actually being released as and use it for something else entirely, it's not that bad of a set. I won't be buying it still though. I think Venom and Spider-Man here are the exact same ones that we've always seen in sets recently. Spider-Woman looks to be a brand new inclusion for the set though, better than I thought it would be, but it's still not something that actually interests me. That's it for our comics and Spider-Man based stuff. We now jump into the movie based sets, the first of a few here. This is the very first official Spider-Verse set that's being released by LEGO. For all those who didn't know, it looks like we're also getting a few more LEGO Spider-Verse based releases in 2025, so it's possibly going to be the first of many. Spider-Man Miles Morales versus the Spot. It's the same terrible naming convention as always with these superhero sets. The set here has 375 pieces in total and 4 minifigures, all of which are new and exclusive for the time being. I'm expecting that might change a little bit later down the line. The original rumored price for this back when I originally reported on it was around 40 USD. I think LEGO suddenly saw the excitement for all of the Spider-Verse fans out there, so they decided to increase the set by $10 now, being released at 50 USD instead. For the NZ crowd, you're looking at around $85 at the minimum, possibly even higher. Maybe that price will be lowered once it releases or something. Things are always subject to change, we're not too sure. This has a lot of people really excited naturally. It's a very beloved series of movies, and I'm happy to see those fans who really held out hope for so long are finally having their wishes granted here. The set features a small bodega-like build. When I say small, I mean minuscule. It's a facade build really that puts a huge emphasis on the word corner for the corner store. Stickers are aplenty here, but I think it looks really cool. I think it works for this kind of a set, and we have a police car out front as well for Miles's dad. It's basically the exact set idea that I've been wanting to see in the superheroes line for over a goddamn decade now, so to finally see something like this is great. The build itself though, and the price point, I don't know what's in the water over at LEGO because it just doesn't match up to me. A part of me wishes that maybe the price was actually higher and the build was properly complete. Get rid of the car as well, it's just not really necessary. I'll be the first, I think, to also say that the best figures here are Miles's dad and the Spot. I think that the Gwen and Miles are bad minifigures. LEGO never made sets based on the first two movies. Their fans were rightfully pissed, so they made their own custom ideas instead. We've seen many amazing looking designs for years now, both purist or customed fully, so LEGO had a lot to live up to with their designs, and they really dropped the ball for these on me. They both include alternate heads and hair pieces, which I think is really good in theory. Miles looks pretty decent enough for me. That youth expression there is really cool, and some are saying that the hairpiece is brand new, but I feel like it's a reuse. We'll just have to wait and see. I think the option for Gwen's terrible. It's the Hermione face that's also used on Pepper Potts, and the hairpiece is the old ponytail. It's an objectively wrong design there, and I'm pretty confident that if we are getting that CMF series, that the Gwen figure will have the accurate hairpiece in that series. They would have done themselves a lot better skipping this detail entirely. I just don't see nearly $100 in NZD here, and I would hope that you don't either, but I've already been seeing the diehard fans express their excitement for this one, so I have to imagine this is probably going to sell pretty well. Next up then is the Buildable Marvel logo, which appears to be a new thing that LEGO are trying out this upcoming year because I believe Star Wars is getting one as well. 931 pieces in total, so it's pretty big. It's got 5 minifigures, the key Avengers from the first film, except the set is missing Hawkeye for some reason, and it's priced at 100 USD, which is today 170 NZD. I'm thinking it'll probably be 180 NZD because that's the price of the Age of Ultron battle set. It just makes sense to me that these would kind of replace one another. This is, call it an art piece maybe, or some display object for your collection. It's a buildable corporate logo, and it's crazy to me that we're going to be getting this and Star Wars before we get a wide released LEGO logo set. If you wanted an indication on where the market is right now for LEGO and who they're currently targeting exactly, it's people with the disposable income to blow away on shit like this. I get it in theory, I just hate it, and I haven't come around yet to accepting that this is what the company is targeting. The set just looks really ugly to me. It's the Batman shadow box that everyone hated but downsized, and instead of featuring anything on the inside, it's just the logo on the front. I'm assuming it's a hollowed out box, at least it is in some areas because the minifigures can come jumping out in play features. It's the studs on the letters is what messes me up, because some of the letters have just so many more studs than others. Like, look at how good that giant E looks there compared to how badly they had to butcher the A and the R in order for the build to work. That inconsistency is the most eye-catching thing to me. If this was a fan-made model, it would be impressive, but an official release set at almost 200 NZD, it feels like a joke. The figures here are all also based around the MCU. That's the other thing for me, it's not a logo that's representing the comics brand of 85 years, it's the logo that's representing the movies from the past 16 years. Initially when I heard that this was being a thing, I wanted it to be super bright and colourful and campy like the comics look, but it's actually just really dull and uninspiring like how the movies look. One of my favourite MCU movies too is actually Captain America the First Avenger, and I bring that up because I believe that's what this Cap figure design is. It'd be really nice to see him jump into something else later down the line then for me, because I'm not planning on buying this one. I have no strong feelings on anyone else included here, and just bizarre to not throw in a Hawkeye figure then to actually make it feel like a complete ensemble. The last set here is the Captain America Civil War battle set. It's a remake of that 2016 one. The set here has 736 pieces in total and 8 minifigures plus a giant man action figure build. The price on this one is also 100 USD. It's got less pieces but it's the same price. You really hate it when LEGO do that. Again, I'm going to assume 180 NZD then because this type of set is currently on shelves now with the Age of Ultron one that released just this year. So I think they're going to start replacing these battle sets with different battle sets every January. Now, I actually did buy the 2016 one just last year, and I managed to find it for less than the original retail price, which I felt really good about at the time. You fast forward by about a year, and I learn of this remake being made, I was really interested in seeing what it looked like, and I began reconsidering if buying the original was actually a good idea or not. Now that I can see that it mimics that display-like style that they've been doing recently, thank God I have that 2016 one instead. To me, this set's a complete failure. It's a downgrade in almost every single aspect from the previous one, which was already filled with annoying issues surrounding the fact that it prioritized the Giant Man build and Quinjet over an airport-like setting. This airport here is less of a build than the previous one. It's a wall and a slab of concrete. Everyone at the time collectively gave this Obi-Wan set some shit when it released, but it must have sold well enough because now that concrete idea has infected other LEGO themes. That Quinjet build is just a joke. It doesn't need to be included here at all, and it should have been skipped over entirely. It just doesn't make sense scale-wise with anything else included here. I still don't know what the general consensus is with buyers and these action figure type builds. I personally don't like them. I loved the minifig design from the first release. The build idea of taking a minifigure and then brick building them into a grander scale is an amazing idea to me and something that I've always really loved. I also think the minifigures here are really boring inclusions. We get Spider-Man, who was the most notable absent inclusion last time, so that's cool, but I struggle to see if anyone else here actually offers anything new besides Bucky, who's now using Snape's hairpiece in its original black coloring instead of brown. I really wanted to see Vision here because he would have helped to have added a little bit of color to these figures. Also, a personal pet peeve of mine, as we all know, the superheroes change costumes in their sequels so that the companies can sell more toys to people. LEGO lately have been doing this thing where they make a new figure of someone in some movie and then they just release that figure in every single set regardless on whether or not it makes sense for them to be there. I'm looking at Wanda here specifically, who appears to be a reuse of the in-game released figure. Overall, I think it's going to be a pretty good January for me to be skipping and saving my money. I think I only want that Ultron set just on a clearance for that Ultron figure alone, mostly because even on clearance, that Spider-Verse set is still going to be rather expensive, so there's no winning there on that one. I also have a theory that that set's going to sell really well, and that this will now be the entry-level price point from here on. Like I said, negative views on just about all of these, but as I mentioned on this channel, it's just what happens when you yourself have to spend your own money on these products. If I'm going to be spending hundreds of dollars a year on these premium products, I'm expecting premium quality then. The figures here are lacking and the set designs aren't interesting. So there you have it. Whatever your thoughts are on these sets though, be it positive or negative, you should let me know down in the comments below. Liking this video and subscribing here to this channel does help to support more videos like this one in the future. Thank you very much for watching everyone, ka kite anō, hope to see you all next time.